instability to your shoulder. So I'm glad my daughter quit volleyball. She did. All right, so, okay, so there's puzzles I'm putting together, right? Her shoulder is elevated and protracted on the right. She has a limitation in scapular upward rotation on the right as compared to the left, okay? So now I have postural observations, I have the scapular rhythm figured out, I know the motion. I didn't check passive, which I could have her lie down and check passive. I know she's also tight internal rotation bilaterally, right? But her right is worse than her left. And then I'm going to check manual muscle strength, okay? So I'm going to have her flex her shoulder. And I don't want to be pushing out here, right? I want to be here and here. And you fight against me. Are you ready? Yes. Strong. She could throw me right up. Seriously, okay? All right. And now I'm going to check abduction. Okay? Hold here, hold here. And I'm already feeling like, just relax a minute. I'm feeling like she's nervous about me pressing on this. I'm feeling that. And you'll get that from your patients like, so I am anticipating that this is not going to be normal just by her the vibe I was getting from her when I went to go do it. Okay, we'll see. All right, you ready? Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. Are you ready? Yep. It's pretty strong, but not as strong. Do you see how I can break her? And do you see what she's trying to do to compensate? She's using those upper traps no matter what she can do, right? Right? Okay, so I know she's a little weak for abduction, but not bad, but accessory muscles are kicking in with that, right? Yeah. So now I'm going to check IR and ER. I'm not going to check it out here where we're all unstable and flying out in the wind, right? I'm going to put her down here in a protected position. And I'm going to do this first, internal, because I know that's the stronger one and she's more likely to be successful. And I want my patient to feel good about how they're doing, right? So I'm going to hold her here, I'm going to pull. And I don't have to give her instruction because she knows what a mini muscle test is. But with my patient, I would have to give her instruction. So that was strong. Did you see me? I was tipping, right? And now I'm going to check external. You ready? Yeah. It's weak. So I would probably give her her flexion a 5. Her abduction, again, you couldn't feel it, but I could break her. She couldn't hold me completely, so I wouldn't give her a 4. I'd give her a 4-. Yeah, and same thing with ER, 4- or 3+. Yeah. Okay. All right. Are you feeling all right? I think
yeah.
Pick on
Oh no, it's fine. I know they're terrible.
Okay. All right. So I have to look further though, because I can't just measure the glenohumeral joint, because that's just part of the picture, right? I have to measure also the scapular muscles. I need to know that. So I usually like to get my patients prone, but we don't really have a mat here. So we're going to use the edge of that table. So it's your left, your right, it's this side. It's the right that we're checking. So she's just going to come here and lean over like this, okay? Uh-huh. And this is the bad arm, right? Yeah. This was the worst one. Yeah. So I'm going to have the patient pick up a bucket, like they're going to pick a bucket up off the floor. And this is manual muscle testing posterior deltoid. Okay? Hold up here, hold here, press here, manual muscle test.
Ooh.
She's struggling, right? Yeah. Yeah, relax. Yeah. So I wouldn't give that a 5, right? I'd give it like another 4-, okay? Sorry. And then I'm going to have her hold like she's waving to the floor. Can you hold that up there?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold it up there, mid-track. Yeah. Weak. And then Superman's flying. Uh-huh. Low trap. That's actually stronger than I thought it was going to be. Pretty good. But still a little weak. So not only, and I would guess like her scapular stabilization muscles are going to be weaker because her scapula is not even symmetrical when it's resting. when she's not using her hand for function, right? And she rests in asymmetry. Her scapula is not upwardly rotating normally. So she has weakness in the scapular stabilization muscles, weakness at the glenohumeral joint, in external rotation and abduction, right? She has tightness in internal rotation, and this postural problem. Okay, let's go back now. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine.
But it's nice to have someone in the class that has a problem. Otherwise, if we just measure someone who's normal, we can't see anything and we can't try to figure anything out, right? So your patient in the shoulder will lead you, if you check everything, will lead you to what you should do, right? So in just looking at her, what kind of things are we thinking that we should work on with her? External rotation, strength, right? So I should work on strengthening. Let's just go through the list, we only have 3 minutes, right? External rotation, she needs to increase her strength. What else? There's lots of ways we can do that.
Retraction.
Her scapular stabilization muscles were weak, specifically posterior deltoid, mid-trap, and low trap. But her posterior deltoid and mid-trap were weaker than the low trap, which is not typical. Maybe that volleyball, the low trap works when you're reaching overhead, and maybe that your low trap got so, do you still play volleyball?
No, I had to stop.
Yeah, but maybe from all those years of playing volleyball, her low trap is just naturally strong, because that's not what you would typically see. Usually the low trap is the weakest, but with her mid-trap and posterior deltoid were weaker than her low trap. So we're going to strengthen those. What else are we going to do? Her pecs were tight, because she was forward, right? So we want to stretch her pecs. Okay, what else? Her abduction was weak. Why do we think maybe her abduction is weak? Her scapula is protracted and elevated, and her external rotators were weak. So her poor little supraspinatus muscle that does abduction doesn't stand a chance, right? So she's hurting her supraspinatus muscle by her static asymmetry and her weak external rotation, right? What else? She had tightness in internal rotation. We want a stretch for internal rotation, passive range of motion. Stretch her pecs. So we already got a lot of stuff to do with her, right? And we don't have a diagnosis. She came to us, we'll say, with shoulder pain, right? But we found lots of pathology that is causing that shoulder, right? We can't feel the labrum. You have to, in order to really diagnose the labrum, you have to have diagnostic tools done, like an MRI. So before the MRI, we didn't even know if someone has a torn labrum. We didn't even know. You just keep treating them with what you can tell. Okay? So let's finish the shoulder next week.
So you don't rule out anything before you start treatment?
Well, they came to me, so they might have had an x-ray done already by the doctor.
So you're just trusting the doctor. Right?
And what's the most common thing that would be wrong with the shoulder? What holds it up? It's usually a muscle problem. It's usually a muscle instability problem, which is right up our alley. So it's very appropriate for us to see what we can do. Without